Do you like puzzles? Do you like using your brain? Do you fancy codes, ciphers, and are you an avid reader as well? Well, I've got some great stuff in my bag for you today. Let me introduce Prose Codes, a casual puzzle game where you decode different ciphers to unlock codes from hundreds of seasoned classics. So, are you intrigued? Well, let's talk about it. Before we jump right into the game, a quick thank you note and shout out to my mate Strateture, who hooked me up with this key. He's a well-rounded human being and an awesome content creator and a very good fellow. You can check out all his stuff in the links below in the description. Please do follow him, as his work is amazing. So, as I have mentioned, Prose Codes is a casual puzzle game where you decode different ciphers to unlock codes from classical literature. After a quick tutorial, the game lets you choose a difficulty setting. The difference between these being the numbers of letters the game gives you at the start. The hardest setting gives you none, making it almost impossible for a non-native speaker. There's also progressive, which makes the game harder and harder as you go on. For this test and review I have chosen the medium setting, and it posed quite a challenge for me. Moving on, you can pick from 7 genres, namely adventure, children, sci-fi, drama, notable, mystery, and horror. There is no specific content gate barring you from venturing down either path. This is certainly a welcome design decision. Having tried all of them, for me drama was the hardest, for reasons I will discuss later. For now, let's talk about the gameplay. The core gameplay loop follows the rules of a substitution cipher, where each alphabetical letter is substituted with another. After you solve a cipher, it unveils a code from a book. After this, you can either move on to another cipher or read more about the excerpt. All these excerpts are also saved and include links to the book the code originates from, leading to the Project Gutenberg webpage. And while we are here, it's worth mentioning that the dev's goal was to shed some light on Project Gutenberg, which is an online library of free ebooks. Actually, the first provider of free electronic books. Michael Hart, the founder of Project Gutenberg, invented ebooks in 1971, and his project is all about encouraging the creation and distribution of ebooks, and with that, reading. Every cipher you solve will link you to the book you can read or download on this page, which is a pretty neat thing. So, after this segue, let's jump right back into the game. The game reminds me of playing classic paper-based games like battleships or crossword puzzles. It also hit nostalgic vibes, as in primary and high school, we used ciphers to message each other during lectures, so even if we were caught, no one would know what we were talking about. While mostly we talked about girls we fancied, snacks and video games. The randomness of the codes offers a delightful surprise every time, and having access to certain passages from the book, not only the cover and the synopsis, leads to further engagement. I quite enjoyed reading the codes after decoding them. The citations always feel relevant to the genre and to the book itself. It captures the tone and the mood well. Without spoiling much of the story, they work great as a bait to lure you into picking up the works themselves. It really shows how much admiration the developer had for each of the books, to pick an excerpt from the book that is actually interesting, and I can only imagine how much work went into this selection process. Although you can't see much happening on screen, as most of the time I was thinking and playing trial and error, I immensely enjoyed myself. And there's something to be said about the ego-boosting moments when you recognize a code early and manage to solve it by heart, having read the book already. Some ciphers can be completed in as little as 2 minutes, others might take a good 10 minutes to half an hour, especially on hard mode without hints. Indeed, fortunately the game will give you 3 hints. In my experience they are always valuable and help a lot with solving. After solving the ciphers, you are also rewarded with sweet illustrations, adding an extra layer of immersion and satisfaction. It would have been cool if this immersion was boosted even further through the use of a voiceover. Imagine an older man's voice reading the codes, just like in Civilization series when you have finished the wonder. On the other hand, I must highlight, this game won't deliver the same experience for everyone. A lot of ciphers contain archaic English, I would imagine these would prove problematic even for native speakers as well, not to mention those of us that had learned the language. Out of curiosity, I asked a few people to give the title a spin, and the results varied vastly. Some had an easy time, others got quite stuck. On the other hand, however, the same can prove to be a useful tool in anyone's arsenal when it comes to extending their vocabulary. Presentation-wise, what immediately caught my attention was the art referencing vintage sketches in the background and the typewriter fonts the game uses. Latter brings the player back to the times before the computer era, and I could almost smell the old books. The pleasant background music doesn't intrude, rather offers a calm environment so that you can think in peace. So in summary, the husband and wife dev team wanted players to explore more books, bring more awareness to Project Gutenberg, and in my opinion they have succeeded in such. It was great re-exploring the old classics I have read, and coming across others that I haven't. In fact, I found myself listing a few books I want to read in the future. The devs also achieved their goal of offering new ways to discover the joy of books and reading, and made me use my brain. The game has a visually pleasing aesthetic, a ton of engaging codes to explore, and a very nice system that excels in the gameplay when it comes to Cyphers. All in all, I had a fun time, so if you're curious as well, Prose Codes will release tomorrow on the 11th of February 2022. The storefront link and the dev socials will be in the description box, and don't forget give Strateture a visit as well. He's a great guy. And also please let us know what do you think about this game in the comments. Like this video if you want to see more reviews like this, and hit that subscribe button because it is free and it helps us immensely. I hope to see you guys around. Until next time, Escape Pod out.